Imagine standing on a world where the sun never rises. There is no dawn. There is no dusk. There are no seasons. If you look up, the stars do not rise and set like they do on Earth. They simply spin overhead, a ceiling of diamonds that never changes. You are drifting in the eternal night. You are untethered. You are alone. This is not a dead rock. It is a planet, a world just like ours, that has been cast out into the dark. Astronomers call them rogue planets. They are the orphans of the galaxy. For a long time, we thought these objects were rare, freaks of nature. We were wrong. Recent computer simulations suggest that the galaxy is teeming with them. The Milky Way contains anywhere from 100 billion to perhaps trillions of these wanderers. Think about that number. It is possible that there are more rogue planets in the galaxy than there are stars. For every light you see in the sky, there might be 2 or 3 dark worlds drifting invisibly in the space between them. The universe is not defined by the light. It is defined by the shadows. How does a planet get lost? Usually, it is evicted. 4 billion years ago, our solar system was a violent, chaotic place. Planets migrated. They pushed and pulled on each other. It is a game of gravitational musical chairs. If a small planet gets too close to a gas giant like Jupiter, the giant's gravity acts like a slingshot. The smaller world is kicked out. It is accelerated to escape velocity and flung into the interstellar void. We believe our own solar system may have ejected a planet long ago, a brother of Earth, lost to the cold. But not all orphans were kicked out. Some were born alone. Some rogue planets form just like stars do. A cloud of gas collapses under its own gravity. It shrinks and heats up, but it runs out of mass. It isn't heavy enough to ignite nuclear fusion. It never turns on. It becomes a sub-brown dwarf. These are the runts of the stellar litter. They sit in the darkness, glowing faintly from the heat of their formation, ruling over a solar system that contains nothing but themselves. What happens to a world when you take away the sun? The temperature plummets. Within a few weeks of ejection, the surface drops to hundreds of degrees below zero. The atmosphere itself begins to die. The air gets so cold that it turns into a liquid,
The
and then
atmosphere
into a
itself
solid.
begins to die.
It rains liquid
The
nitrogen.
air gets so cold that it
Then it
turns
snows
into a
frozen
liquid,
oxygen.
and
The
then
atmosphere
into a solid.
collapses onto the ground, covering the planet in a thick blanket of chemical ice. The world is sealed inside a frozen skin. But that does not mean it is dead. We tend to think of planets as cold rocks that need a sun to keep them warm. That is only half the truth. A planet is not just a rock, it is a battery. Deep inside the core of an Earth-sized world, there is a massive supply of uranium and thorium. As these elements decay, they release heat. This is radiogenic heat. It is the same fire that moves the continents and drives volcanoes on Earth. Even without a sun, a rogue planet can keep its core molten and hot for
It
billions
is the
of
same
years.
fire that moves the
The surface
continents
is a
and
tomb,
drives volcanoes on
but the
Earth.
heart is still beating.
Even without a sun,
and if the planet
a
is
rogue
lucky,
planet can keep its
it
core.
can keep that heat. In 2011, astrophysicists proposed the Steppenwolf theory. If a rogue planet is ejected with a thick atmosphere of hydrogen gas, that gas acts like a heavy wool blanket. It traps the heat rising from the core. It creates a greenhouse effect without a sun. The pressure would be crushing, but on the surface of these lonely worlds, the temperature might be warm enough for liquid water. They are dark, high-pressure saunas drifting through the void. But for most rogue planets, the water goes underground. The surface is frozen solid, but miles beneath that ice, the geothermal heat melts the bottom of the glacier. This creates a subsurface ocean. We see this in our own solar system on moons like Europa and Enceladus.
This creates a subsurface
But on a rogue
ocean.
Earth,
We see this
this
in our
ocean
own solar
could be
system
global.
on moons like
It
Europa
would be a sea
and
of eternal
Enceladus.
darkness. The pressure would be immense, but it would be liquid. And where there is water, there is potential. Could something live down there? Absolutely. On Earth, the food chain begins with the sun. Plants eat light. We eat plants. But in the deep ocean, there is no light. Life there relies on chemosynthesis. Bacteria feed on the chemical energy pouring out of hydrothermal vents. They eat the heat of the planet itself. On a rogue planet, the biosphere wouldn't look up at the stars for salvation. It would look up at the core. If complex life evolved in this abyss, what would it look like? It would be blind. Eyes are expensive organs to grow. In the dark, they are useless. Instead, these creatures would likely evolve massive sensory organs. They would use sonar like bats or dolphins to see with sound. Or they might sense electrical fields like sharks. They would be slow, ghostly things, haunting a world that has never known the concept of day. How do you find a planet that gives off no light and blocks no sun? You don't look at it, you look behind it. Gravity bends light. When a rogue planet passes exactly in front of a distant background star, its gravity acts like a magnifying glass. It focuses the starlight. For a few hours, that distant star will appear brighter than it should be. This is called gravitational microlensing. We are hunting ghosts by watching the background warp. We see the distortion, not the object. But sometimes, they are just warm enough to see. In 2013, we found one. Its name is PSO J31822. It is only 80 light years away. It is young, only 12 million years old, so it is still glowing with the heat of its birth. It is a lonely gas giant, 6 times heavier than Jupiter, with clouds of molten iron rain. It is the first confirmed traveler, a glimpse into the vast, silent population of the void. These travelers might have a purpose. If a rogue planet has life huddled around its core, it is a seed floating in the wind. Some theories suggest they are galactic ferries. A planet is ejected from one star system, drifts for 1 billion years, and gets captured by another. When it warms up under a new sun, the ice melts. The bacteria wake up. It is possible that life did not start on Earth. It might have been delivered here by a wanderer from across the galaxy. But the wanderers are also a threat, because they are invisible. We wouldn't see one coming until it was right on top of us. A rogue planet wouldn't need to hit Earth to kill us. If an object the size of Neptune passed through our outer solar system, its gravity would be a wrecking ball. It would disrupt the delicate balance of the system. It could tug on Jupiter or Saturn. That tug would ripple down to us. It could stretch Earth's orbit. If it pulled us just 5% closer to the sun, our oceans would boil. If it pulled us 5% further away, our planet would freeze over. We are living in a fragile equilibrium, and there are billions of invisible weights rolling around in the dark that could upset it. The threat might not be coming from deep space. It might already be here. For years, astronomers have noticed something strange. The dwarf planets in the outer darkness past Pluto are clustered together. Their orbits are tilted. It looks like something heavy is pulling on them. They call it Planet 9. Calculations suggest it is a Neptune-sized world 10 times heavier than Earth, hiding 20 times further away than Neptune. Some theories suggest this wasn't born here. It might be a rogue planet that the sun captured billions of years ago. A prisoner of war, orbiting silently in the cold. This is the hope for every orphan. Capture. Gravity is a two-way street. Just as a planet can be kicked out, it can be adopted. If a rogue planet drifts at just the right speed and angle past a star, it can be snagged. It enters a new orbit. It gets a second sunrise. The frozen atmosphere would melt. The oceans would thaw. A world that has been dead for eons could suddenly bloom with life again. It is a cosmic resurrection. But what about us? Will Earth stay here forever? Nothing
a world
lasts
that has been
forever.
dead for eons.
In
could
5
suddenly
billion years,
bloom
the sun
into
will
life
die.
again.
Or in 4 billion years, the Milky Way will crash into Andromeda. In that chaos, the delicate balance of our orbit will be shattered. There is a significant chance that before the sun swallows us, Earth will be ejected. We will leave our father. We will become a rogue planet. The sky will go black. The oceans will freeze. If humanity or our descendants are still here, we would have to move. We would burrow deep underground, huddled around the warmth of the core. We would become travelers on a spaceship made of rock. We would no longer orbit a star. We would drift between them, we would sail the great dark ocean of the Milky Way, safe beneath the ice, watching the galaxy spin past us. We pity these worlds because they are alone. We fear the dark, but perhaps we are wrong. A rogue planet is the most free object in the universe. It is not bound to any master. It does not circle a tyrant star that will eventually burn it to ash. It belongs only to itself. They are the silent travelers of eternity, drifting in the quiet dignity of the void forever.